Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Holmes and Miss Atfill, and tonight we're talking about what we covered in class and how we are using images to help us think about the problem-solving piece. So we talked about how each add-in is like a puzzle piece, and when you put all your add-ins together, it makes a whole, a sum. Just like when we put our pieces together, you have a picture once you put all of them. So we have connected a puzzle to the problem-solving operation of addition, talking about, again, pieces. We treat them as add-ins, and when the whole picture is together, that would be our sum.
Okay, and here on this picture, we talked about using the giraffe image to help us remember or make a connection to subtraction, especially subtraction when we're comparing two things, something about two things. We're comparing, how much greater one is than the other or less than. We're comparing.
Shorter than, fewer than. Just those are some things that kind of help us when we have two different objects, nouns, any kind of noun, person, place, or a thing, even possibly. Okay. We are talking about comparing.
So yes, our two little giraffes here help us remember that we're looking to see not only how are they the same, but we're looking to focus on how they're different. So when we look at the little giraffe, we can see that the little giraffe and the adult giraffe have this much in common. This much is what they have in common. But more importantly, if I cover up what they have in common, I can tell the difference between the two. I'm trying to tell how much greater or taller this giraffe is to the baby giraffe. So that's our difference. And again, we're talking about comparing two different things to find the difference. So we're using the operation of subtraction.
And then the difference, we know, is the answer to a subtraction problem. And to make sure, or when we're looking for something that's different, what is different? Well, they're both round. They're both the same size, or they're all, not both. So the difference is their color. So when we're looking, we need to make sure that the answer to our subtraction question, there is a difference in the numbers. So that was just kind of reviewing what we talked about in class. And you have your math IMBs, which we've already done, to help you. If you need to go back to look at it, that's awesome. Do so. And then remember, the inverse operation is just the opposite. If we're adding, we're going to subtract to check it. If we're subtracting, we're going to add to check it. So now we're going to talk about some problem solving. So we're going to make you think about those images. And it's going to take me just a little bit, guys, to zoom in so you guys have a better view of the question.
Okay. Is that good?
I think so.
Okay. The question is, or the problem is, Teresa traveled 429 miles to summer camp and Lance traveled 136 miles to summer camp. How many more miles did Teresa travel to camp than Lance?
So, Ms. Atfill, I noticed the way that you can help us, or the way that you are showing us to help us organize our thoughts, is this, which I'm thinking we talked about, the symbol of the operation. And when we're talking about operation, we know we're talking about, right now, addition and subtraction.
Yes.
We'll get into that multiplication and division a little bit later. But for now, that's where our symbol will go. And our why. We talked about combining would be reasons why, looking for a total, and now for subtraction, we can put reason why because we're comparing, or we're actually trying to find the difference. So after your question, Ms. Atfill, let's go back and look and talk about what operation we think that it's going to be. We talked about that giraffe kind of pops in my head because I'm seeing Teresa and Lance.
Yes.
So they're different so far.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean just because it's a boy and a girl. I'm sorry, y'all. You're going to have to just kind of go with us. So I do think of the giraffe just automatically because I'm looking. But how do I make sure?
Well, we're talking about Teresa and Lance, and obviously one of them traveled farther than the other. So our question to ourselves should be, well, how much farther did Teresa travel to camp than Lance?
When you think about your giraffe, what's the same is that they both traveled miles.
Yes.
So we need to find out how much further Teresa did.
Yes.
So would that be the giraffe image that comes?
That would be the giraffe image.
And when it's the giraffe, we know we're using the operation of?
Subtraction.
Because we are
comparing. That's going to be our reason why. We are using the operation of subtraction.
And now Miss Apfel's going to show us how a strategy on computation. So show me a way to subtract.
Okay, well, one way to subtract, just like with addition, we can use the pictorial representation when we're actually using our place value blocks, our base 10 blocks, to show the addition or the subtraction. In this case, it is subtraction. And when we're subtracting, it's a little bit different from when we are doing the actual addition. In addition, you'll remember we drew the base 10 blocks for both add-ins that we were adding to find the sum. But when we're finding the difference, we are actually just going to show the base 10 blocks with our greater number, our whole, not the part that we're talking about. The part is what we're taking away.
So
or
Ms.
not,
Apple,
well,
can you write our equation?
Yes.
Because it's kind of hard to.
429 minus, because we're subtracting, 136 is going to equal, that's what we're trying to find, the difference.
And then now we can see that you're talking about we need to draw the whole
Yes.
with our base 10s, and we're going to take this part away.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are only going to draw one set.
Yes, so I'm going to show with my base 10 blocks, and guys, they don't have to be perfect. Remember, we don't have to be perfect when we're drawing. 4 hundreds, 2 tens, and 9 ones. And you can just do your little circle dots for your ones. You don't have to draw perfect little squares. So there is our whole that we are starting with.
You know what I just noticed, Miss Apple? You
what?
kind of set it up like as a 10 frame.
Oh, I did.
You put it like in 5, and then you knew 9 with a 4. One more would make us a whole. So when you have to take away your 6, do you need to count each one, or can you just go ahead and put a line through it because you know that's 5?
There you go. So if I'm going to, I have 9, we're going to start with our ones, and I need to take 6 of those away. I know this is 5 because Ms. Holmes just pointed out I did a 10 frame. I didn't even realize I was doing it.
It's great organization.
Okay, so 5 of those, we take them away, and we're putting an X because we are removing them. And then we're going to take 1 more away. How many ones do we have left? 1, 2, 3. So we'll put our 3 in our ones place. Then we move to our tens. I have 2 tens, which are equal to 20. I need to remove 3 tens.
Well, you don't have 3 tens, but we can decompose. And we've talked about decomposing, and you guys know how many tens are in 100?
10.
So we're going to draw our 10 tens to show the decomposed 100.
Okay, so here are our 10 tens that we decomposed from our 100, and we're going to add them, of course, to the 2 that we already have. So now do we have enough tens that we can remove 3 tens?
Yes, because again, you set it up as a 10 frame. 5 and 5 is our 10, and 2 more. So I think you have plenty to take away.
Okay, so I'm going to take these 2 away and then 1 additional 10, which leaves
means
us
5 and 4
equals 9 tens remaining.
Which is a value of 90.
Thank you. And then we move to our hundreds. Okay, we had 4, but we had to decompose one of them, remember. So we have 3 hundreds, and we're going to take away or remove one of them. So we're going to X out one of our hundreds, and that leaves us with 100, 200. 200s, which have a value of 200. And our difference is 293 miles, because we always want to label our answer. We want to know, are we talking about dogs? Are we talking about markers? What are we talking about? Popcorn pieces?
And I know you guys saw this at the bottom, but that had nothing to do with our solving. But we are going to show you the inverse operation to check it. And what is the opposite of a subtraction?
Addition.
So we wrote down our difference and a add-in. No, what am I talking about? Add-in is for addition, and we just are not adding. We are subtracting. So a part. Friends. So we are going to use, why don't you show us one of the favorites, the expanded form.
Okay.
To show us.
Okay, and I'm going to kind of do it over here, maybe in this space, or shall I do it down here?
You know,
does it really matter?
I think our friends are so forgiving, because they're going to have to forgive us on this video today because of the camera person.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, so we said expanded form. So I'm going to take my now 2 add-ins. Is that what we said, expanded form?
Yes.
And we're going to break them into our
values. And value, we all know, is how much it is worth.
Worth. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I have my hundreds, my tens, and my ones, and I'm going to do the same thing with the second addend. 100 plus 30 plus 6. And then I'm going to actually draw my line, and I'm now going to add my ones, which are not 3 ones plus 6 ones or 9 ones. Then we have our tens. 90 plus 30 is 120. Oh, yes, we can do some regrouping there. So we will do that in just one moment. Let's go ahead and do our hundreds. Let's add our hundreds. And now let's go back and let's regroup these tens here. So I know I can take this 100 and put it with the other hundreds. Okay, I'm running out of room, so we're going to go over here. So now we can write our number in standard form. So 300 plus 100 is going to be
400.
4 in the hundreds place, 400.
We have
Two
two
tens and 9
ones.
ones.
And if you come back up here, that was our whole, which you matched. So that tells me that your computation was correct. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to kind of switch this over to Miss Apfel, so it might get a little shaky.
We're
Again,
technical difficulties, and we apologize.
and we're going to fire the cameraman. So,
Okay.
here we have another problem. So we're going to zoom in on this, we hope. And I think that's good enough. A cell phone company sold 492 cell phones to customers in January and 267 cell phones to customers in February. What is the difference between the numbers of cell phones sold in these 2 months? Well, I underlined this word difference because that is a vocabulary word, and I just kind of wrote underneath it to remind myself that it's the answer to a subtraction problem. Well, seeing as that it already told me it was subtraction right there, my reason will be, so I'll put my subtraction sign,
Symbol.
and then my y will, because I am looking for the difference. And I am not going to misspell that because it is right there. That will make Miss Reams and Miss Ray so happy. So we're looking for the difference. So I'm going to show you a different way, which is, y'all know, I love the number lines because I hate to subtract. So I'm actually going to show you how to add on a subtraction problem. So our last strategy for tonight is going to be the number line. So I'm going to go ahead and draw me a number line. I'm going to write the equation so that Miss Apfel can zoom out. So you guys can see what I'm doing here. So there we set up our equation. Miss Holmes is going to start at 267. I am starting at my part, and I am wanting to land on 492, which is a whole. So Miss Holmes is going to write her 267. I'm not going to put 492 because it might end up over here, and I just, you know. Miss Holmes has talked about multiples, friendly numbers, those mental numbers we can add. So my next multiple, Miss Apfel, and we talked about rounding to the nearest 10, that's going to get me to what multiple next?
270.
So I'm going to write 270, and to get me from here to here, I added 3. So now, do I have to start can I hop a little bit further? I think they can handle it. What do you think?
I think so.
Do you think I need to hop, or I need to land? I'm at 200. I'm going to go 100. And I'm going to land on 370. If I go one more 100, I'll land on 470. I can still do that. Hey, let's do it then.
Because it's less than
It is.
492.
So I'm going to put my 100 up there, and I landed on 470. Now can I go to my next 100?
Your next 100?
I'm thinking if I did it, go to 570, and that would be
Yes, no.
way past
past.
my whole. So I'm at 470, and now I need to get to my 92 from 70. I can either go to my next 10. So I'm going to put 10 up here, and I'm at 480. Sorry, you guys, it's just going to look crazy. And then if I hopped another 10, it'd put me in my 90s.
Yes.
Ooh, I can do it.
We're getting close.
We are getting close. So I'm at 490. Well, how many more do I need to hop to get to the 2?
Just 2.
So I'm going to hop 1 and a 2, and I'm going to land on 492. Now, I have not subtracted anything, but here's the cool part. I like to add, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to take these numbers that I wrote up here and put them all together.
Well, that should be easy.
So I'm going to add, let's see, 100
So should
plus,
they take the bigger numbers first, probably?
oh yes.
Yes, just like
Because-
counting money?
Yes.
Okay.
Because watch, 100, 200, and then that's it. Then I went to my tens.
Okay.
So we're at 200, 10, 20, 23,
Three.
and 2 more gets me
25.
25. So that is how you can add on a subtraction problem. Woohoo!
Yay.
So to check our inverse, the opposite operation is addition.
Okay.
And I want to admit that the basic algorithm has been a fan of our students. However, some of our are still not to the quite explanation of knowing why, that true relationship. So instead of taking the whole thing away, Miss Outfield, their privileges for that, we're gonna compromise, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm going to do an expanded form as well, but a little bit different from Miss Apfil's. I'm going to actually look at my hundreds, and I'm going to add 200 and 200 to get me 400. And then I'm going to add my tens, and the value is 2 tens, which gets me 20, and 6 tens, which gets me 60. And I know 6 plus 2 is 8. However, I'm in my tens place. That's an 80. If you notice, Miss Atfield, I'm doing my hundreds, my tens, and my ones right
Yes.
here. And I'm making sure that I'm keeping them lined up like that basic algorithm.
Very important.
And then my ones, 5 plus 7. I know my double, so 5 and 5 is 10, and 2 more gets me.
12.
I'm putting my 110 and the 2 in my ones. Now watch. There's that algorithm.
Oh, there it is.
There's my part, which helps me with that regrouping, and then here's the algorithm. So I'm looking in my ones place, and I have 2 ones. I have an 8 tens and 1 tens, which gets me 9 tens and 4 hundreds. So let's see if I was right, 492, and my total was 492, so that tells me